Welcome everyone, we are the Arcturians. We are speaking through Suzanne. What is occurring on your planet is worldwide. At different places in the world deals with different things in different ways. But it is a time of immense planetary change. And one thing that we, the Arcturians, would like to say, which we have said many times, is that humans are meant to be the guardians of the planet on which they live. And different planets have more devoted guardians. Like the guardians for Venus are very, very dedicated. And it is a deeply loving, gorgeous, peaceful world. Now, these guardians are higher dimensional beings. And they are not visible to people unless that person is able to hold a higher frequency of light and be able to look through their own third eye. And even then, they will mostly get a feeling of, and not so much a vision. Because they know that humans, it would be too difficult for humans to see them. And so therefore, they do assist humans to feel them. And these are actually galactic beings that resonate to the fifth dimension and beyond. And we would like to think that they're here for the humans. And yes, that's true, but mostly they're here for the planet. The Arcturians, they're like the generals. And the Arcturians, they are the protectors. They had a lot to do with the early times. And the Arcturians, they're the ones that strive to keep humanity online, because humans can get offline. They can get away from remembering that they are galactic beings. All the humans were galactic beings. They came to Earth largely because Earth was such a beautiful planet. But then over time, as more of the humans came, there was more damage that was done with Earth. And so then they stayed there as the guardians of Earth. The Venusians love beauty. They love beauty. It's not like they just enjoy it or they just make it. They love beauty. And they seek out beauty. And they wouldn't want to have a war, because war is not beautiful. And, lovely structures get blown up and forests get burnt down, and it really damages the earth. Because you could say, yes, wars are awful because lots of humans die. That's true. But lots of animals die, lots of birds die, lots of land becomes destroyed. And so people, if they're having a war with each other, they think it's just the humans against the humans. But what they don't get is that it's the humans against the earth. All the planets are beings, and different people could judge different planets and say this planet is that and this planet is the other. But the planet that's the most important always is the planet that we chose to incarnate on. And we did choose to incarnate. And many of us are galactic beings, and our innate energy field is not third dimensional. Our innate energy field is like fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, up beyond. And long ago, many incarnations ago, some humans were not able to remember why they came. But the humans that could remember, at least for one incarnation or two incarnations, could remember that they chose to come to this particular planet Earth, because it needed assistance and it needed lots of love. It's a very loving planet. And it's like Venus and Gaia. They're both very, very loving planets. And they need the participants of that planet to give them love. Because people that give love want love. And that's why they give love. They get that cycle going of give and take and give and take and give and take. But then when fear comes in, it messes up the love. And then it's me first, I want, you can't. We're not separate. We are not separate. We are not separate from the earth. We are made of earth, air, fire, and water. The planet is made of earth, air, fire, and water. All of the humans at some point came from the higher frequencies. Being and thinking of oneself as being a guardian for the planet that you live on. And it's not in that format, in that way. You're not thinking, oh, I want to get this from the planet, and I want to get that, and that tree is too big, it's in my way, cut it down. Then there are people that are awakening, and they are realizing that everything is alive. The trees are alive because you could see how a tree dies. You could see how a tree is born. You could see how the tree grows, and how when the tree is healthy, it has all kinds of like bugs and birds and all kinds of cool things on the tree. And when the tree is not healthy, you might have the bugs, but you're not going to have the birds and all those other types of things, because it's not a healthy plant. And they know what is healthy. And humans do too, if they look. But very often, they don't look. They're just rushing off to go to work, rushing off to go to the store, rushing off to pick up somebody, rushing off to go to something. We, the Arcturians, say the very first thing that we ask the humans to do is to remember. Remember that they are galactic beings. Humans are galactic beings that at some point in some era have chosen to inhabit the planet Earth. And there are other planets that are inhabited, but they're not inhabited in the manner that we perceive on Earth. Because not all of the planets have humanoids in the manner that Earth has humanoids. Now, humanoids can be so wonderful. They can take care of the land. They can take care of the animals. They can take care of the sky, take care of the water. They can really be very loving mentors of the planet on which they have chosen. Now, most humans don't think, I have chosen, but you have, because everyone comes from somewhere. They come from a higher frequency, and some humans come from Arcturus, and some come from the Pleiades, and some come from the other planets. And humans think that this is the only planet that has life. But many other planets have life, but they don't have life in the same manner that Earth has life, because it's a different planet. And it has a different atmosphere. Now, taking a moment to look at the atmosphere, look what has happened to the atmosphere. That there's this something going through the atmosphere making people sick. But are the humans it's not their fault? Not happiness. Gaia is not happy. You know, like how you feel when you start to get sick. You're not sick yet, but you don't feel too good and you want to just sleep and relax and hope you don't get sick. Well, Gaia went through that phase, but nobody paid any attention to her. Everybody just kept on doing all the stuff they always did. She's unhappy because her beings that live on her haven't been loving her enough. And sometimes all she just needs is that loving energy. And the reason for that is that when somebody has a loving energy, they don't want to destroy anything. They don't want to cut down a tree because it's in their way, even though the whole neighborhood enjoyed it. You know, they aren't like that. And so it's the energy of the people that, see, the people are supposedly the most evolved, but they're the most evolved in certain ways, but they're the most unevolved in other ways. And one of the ways that they're the least evolved is that they think if they can't just see it and hear it and touch it with their physical self, that it doesn't exist. But there's a whole reality that's of a higher frequency. And that higher frequency, that's the life force. That's what keeps it going. That's what keeps the planet living. That's what feeds the planet. Everything we put into the planet stays in the planet. So, you know, if we bury old cars or, you know, leave our trash around or throw things in waterways and messes up the waterway, all those things that, okay, we got rid of it, the humans got rid of it, they don't have to look at it anymore. They threw it in a pit, they poured it, throw it in the water, it's done for them. But now it's rotting down in the earth, down in the water. So that water's not going to be that good. That earth is not going to be that fertile. And then they wonder how come areas aren't, you know, the waterways aren't good, and how come things don't grow as well there? Well, we are, the humans, are meant to be the mentors. We are, when we first came here, we were aware that we are multi-dimensional beings, and that we also resonate to the, not just the third and fourth dimension, but to the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and that we have chosen to lower the frequency of our physical form so that we could interface more directly and more intimately with planet Gaia. And we did this because Gaia called. She called for us. And it was at the fall of Atlantis. That was when the call was loud enough, because a huge area was destroyed. And down into the ocean, down, you know, below the ocean. And then more humans began to call for the help. And that is, they called for the help because Gaia chose to be a free will planet. And so if we want something to happen to this planet, we need to use our free will. If we're just victims and say, well, I didn't do that, it's not my fault. Well, that's what your free will. You used your free will to just skip out on it, to skip out on the place that you live on.
We have so much freedom within us that we can pull forward and, like you were saying, use our free will in a way that benefits not just ourselves, but also benefits others. But there's a choice to be made there. And it seems like a lot more people now are choosing to stay aware and stay awake of who they really are, which is important, because that's an easy thing that you can shut out after time, or it's too big, like you see yourself too big and you don't want to believe that you could be somebody important or somebody that really does have an impact. But at the end of the day, we ourselves, just every single person has the ability to make immense change, not just on the physical level, but also on the energetic levels as well. And we can see this with those mass meditations or those global meditations where you have people all around the world meditating at the same time, not the same place, but they build an energy field. And what happens with that energy field? Well, we can see some physical manifestations of it, but the rest of that energy is non-physical, but it's there. It's just as real as the physical is. And what would that do if we could all come together in that way, more and more and more and more, and build up an energy field of love, of harmony, of unity, and of connection? Think about the change that would create.
Yes, because one's state of mind has a lot to do with their energy field and with their ability to, fight off a disease, and it's the same for the planet. The planet is constantly afraid. We like to think of the planet, it was just a thing, but it's not just a thing. Because if it was just a thing, we would have destroyed it long ago. I mean, look how long the humans have been there, and look at how poorly we've treated the planet. But she is able to revive herself again and again and again. We need to learn how to revive ourselves again and again and again, just like Gaia, and then get in sync with Gaia. And so when Gaia is saying, okay, it's time to go into revise of ourselves. We need to really focus on this now, because the energy field is dropping too low. And we, the Galactics, have come to Earth to help Gaia to ascend beyond her status of a third dimensional planetary being into a fourth dimensional planetary being, and finally into a fifth dimensional planetary being, and eventually even beyond that. And the humans, they have a big effect on the planet. And I know me, Sue, I've read, anytime I find anything about anybody knowing anything about any kind of a starship on Earth, man, I am there. and they do come, and you can see it. Look on the internet, you'll find it. They're checking in and saying, okay, are the humans ready yet? But it's a free will planet. And if we are not able to welcome them, if we are not able to say, look, we know that there are higher dimensions. We know that there are higher dimensions of our own physical body, and we know there are higher dimensions of Gaia. And we know that you, the Galactics, are even higher dimensions than we are. And can you assist us within this now? And if there is ever a time that Gaia needed assistance, wow, this is a big one. About the only thing that's worse than this is these world wars that we had to. They were horrid. But this is really difficult for the planet, which is where we live. So humans don't get to say, it's just the planet. Well, that's where you live. You could say, it's just my house. So if you never cleaned your house, a year, maybe 2 years, it would just look like a dump. But you think that you can get away with it on the planet? It's our job. And as we realize that, we also begin to remember our own galactic self. Do you want to talk? When you and I first met, we met as our higher galactic self. So why don't you tell a little bit about that?
Well, it's interesting what you start to remember as you were just saying about who you actually are on a multidimensional level. And it only takes just a little leap of faith into that curiosity or into that mystery. And isn't it so interesting that we all have that? I mean, I don't know about you, Sue, but every time just like you read about, a starship, or like, what is that mysterious sighting? And there's always just so much beautiful mystery surrounding that. And we have that same energy within us. It's like every single time that we tap into our true multidimensional selves, it's like the same thing of if you saw a starship streak across the sky for a second. That's literally what's happening in our energy field. It's going expanding. And so when you and I met and started talking more, we started building an energy field. And in that energy field was memories, and is memories of what happened before, what's happening in time, what has happened outside of time, and on other timelines, all of that fun stuff. And this is what a lot of people are starting to tap into now. It's less of a mental energy, and it's more of a holistic energy. There's a lot of components to it. And when we start to create deeper, meaningful relationships with other people, with ourselves, with the planet, then that creates an energy field that is going to reflect that love, that deepness, that authentic connection.
Yes. So just everyone that is joining us within this now, whether you got maybe it's 2 weeks ago or a year later, it doesn't matter. Time is an illusion of the third dimension. So just take a moment now and feel love. And breathe in one more time. Hold, hold, hold this glorious feeling within your nowness and oneness as you breathe out. Take a moment and feel the starships above you. You don't need to see them because they're at a frequency that your physical eyes cannot perceive. But when you raise your consciousness can feel them. And they know that planet Earth is having a difficult time right now. And planet Earth is such a loving, sweet, caring planet. And that might seem weird to some of you, that a planet has a personality. Let's say you go to one park, that has a personality. And then you go take a walk in the woods, that has a different personality. And then you go to the ocean, that has another personality. Gaia has many, many personalities, just like people. Gaia is ready. She's ready to move beyond her third dimensional frequency and into her fourth dimensional frequency, and to begin to awaken to her fifth dimensional frequency of light. The only thing that's really holding them down is basically the humans. You know, what the humans are doing, what the humans aren't doing. And we're not saying this so, oh, you should feel sorry for yourself, humans, because if you've listened to this whole thing, then you're not one of the people that should feel sorry for, because you know that you are interested in this and you want this. You want to heal the planet. You want to be able to see the starships in the sky. You want them to land. You want to know a fifth dimensional reality based on the here and the now and the love and the light. We all want that, but we need to participate in the welcoming of that.